Red pentas, beautiful addition to a garden. They have gorgeous flowers, and best of all, butterflies love them. This is my pentas garden, which has mostly pentas and a few other butterfly loving flowers mixed in here and there. And I'm going to show you how this all came together, how I take care of the pentas and keep this garden looking beautiful and full of blooms for butterflies. One of the best things you can do to your red pentas or white or pink pentas or any other color pentas you have is regularly deadheading. You can see right there are blooms that are spent, and I'm just going to trim them off and let them fall down to the bottom. When you're regularly deadheading your pentas, it allows the plant to quit trying to sustain that portion you just snipped off and start focusing on new growth and new flowers. So you'll have lots of blooms to attract in lots of butterflies. Pentas plants are very easy to grow and maintain. They do well in pots, just as well in pots as they do planted in the ground. A lot of these pentas right here are actually in pots. The cool thing about having them in pots is that you can move them around and you can put them up on risers to make them seem taller and to add more depth to your garden. Those pentas all back there are sitting up on risers so that it makes a more impressive expanse of red through this section of my garden. See, from behind you can see I have upside down pots, and I stacked the pot with the pentas in it on top. That brings it up higher, but behind the scenes you can see that. But from the front, you can't really tell coming down the main walkway that those pentas are sitting up on something. Here in Florida, these pentas give me year-round blooms because it's possible to have butterflies year-round depending on how cold our temperatures get. And so I love a dependable year-round bloomer that will provide the nectar that they need when a lot of Florida native wildflowers have gone dormant. If you're looking to buy red pentas for your garden, they're not always easy to find. You might go to your big garden centers and see pentas, but they're usually dwarf. And the nectar in the dwarf pentas is not loved by butterflies like the heirloom original variety of pentas. So try checking your small local nurseries. They're more likely to have the heirloom variety. And butterflies also love the white and the pink, and there's some purpley shades, but as long as they're the tall heirloom variety and not the ones that are meant to grow to a short height. Pentas have a tendency to dry out at the bottom, so you'll see mostly just wooden stem and dried leaves. The green leaves and the red come closer to the top. So when planting them, you want to think about finding a way to visually disguise them So you don't see that in your garden. You just see this. And one of the ways I do that is the pink pentas tend to grow lower for me, and the white, so I put those ones in front. And I also have a row of border grass, which will also disguise the not so pretty bottom parts of the pentas plants. And if you do end up with an opening like this, it's the perfect spot to just set a potted pentas down in there to fill in that space. Like I showed you earlier, my garden is a combination of pentas in the ground and pentas that are in pots. You can see potted ones down there. And it can really help make your garden look full and lush and just wall to wall pentas plants. Another cool thing about putting some potted plants in amongst your plants that are in the ground is if you do have a freeze, pentas don't do well in freezing temperatures. Sometimes they'll make it and come back, and sometimes you'll lose them. Even if you cover them in the garden, sometimes I've lost them in weather that they're just not used to living in. So if you have some pentas in pots, they're really easy to pull out of your garden and move inside to a warm and snug and cozy space. And that way you'll save some of your plants and you'll be able to get them back out in your garden as soon as the weather warms again, which is fabulous because in the spring, a lot of times you're waiting for your Florida native wildflowers to grow back, and you've got your pentas that are blooming all year to sustain the butterflies until the others catch up. This is the Polydamas swallowtail butterfly, and as you can see, it is just hopping from pentas plant to pentas plant. Butterflies are attracted to the color red because it is one of the colors of the spectrum that they can see well. And the flowers are rich in nectar, and the structure of the flower is the perfect design for butterflies to land on and use as a platform while they collect and enjoy the nectar. Pentas can be planted in a garden bed in a grouping such as this, where you have a lot of red together. It's like a big neon sign calling out to butterflies saying, here's some nectar. But they also look beautiful planted in and amongst other plants, like I have some red and pink pentas planted here in my tropical garden. They add pops of color that pop out amongst all the large leaves of the alocasia and the tractor seat plant and the Fatsia japonica and my just started blooming Malaysian orchid. You can see there's another flower starting, and there's a flower down there. It's gorgeous, and that color pink goes perfectly with the pink pentas that's planted in here, which looks lovely beside the red pentas. I also have some red pentas over here mixed in my mixed flower garden. This is another nectar garden. I have Mexican sunflowers. You can see there's a monarch butterfly enjoying the nectar there. But they make a beautiful combination with a variety of different kinds of flowers. And here I have the Mexican sunflowers, tropical sage, a verbena, or vervain. There's a little bit of leftover blooming Rudbeckia hirta in here also. and that makes a beautiful combination. So all mixed in like a cottage style garden where the branches of the red pentas will sprawl out and they'll just pop up through and among, so it just kind of makes it look like the flowers are everywhere. It's absolutely stunning. They also do fabulously in a planter. I have one back here that's been in this planter for several years. You can see the flowers blooming right there. It is in a planter combined with another one of my favorites, porterweed. Not the Florida native porterweed, but the tall porterweed that's a butterfly favorite. Gets these beautiful purpley blue flowers on them. So that's a great combination pairing too, the red pentas with the porterweed. And this little zebra longwing is fluttering around here because its host plant is right beside the red pentas. And this host plant is Passiflora incense. And that little mama just laid eggs right there. Zebra longwings like to lay the eggs in a cluster on the very tip of new growth of a plant. As you can see in these photos, a lot of butterflies love the flowers on these plants. If you want to add these to your garden, they grow well, like I said, either in pots or in the ground. They prefer lots of sunshine, but not burning all day full sun. As the sun travels through my backyard, they get they get parts of the day where there's partial shade and parts of the day where there's full sun, so it gives them a chance to like cool off and chill out a little bit. It's not full on all day straight sun. They're drought tolerant. Mine get watered regularly just because I'm hand watering everything, and I think mine look as full and green and flowering as they do because I water them regularly. But they don't want to be waterlogged. They don't want to be standing in water. You'll want to put them in well-drained soil. And I don't really do anything special to fertilize them. I'll just use like the Osmocote slow release granules, and I'll just toss them about my garden maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And that's it. So if you're looking for something to add a wonderful pop of color to attract butterflies to your garden, to provide much needed nectar sources for butterflies, you can't beat red pentas. It's a great way to go. If you have any questions, just ask me in the comments. And I'll see you on Tuesday for my next vlog video when you see what all's going on.